Hey everyone, welcome to MLSsoccer.com's exclusive preview of the second leg between Santos Laguna and the Seattle Sounders in the semifinals of the CONCACAF Champions League. The game takes place on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's on Fox Soccer. There will be a live chat on MLSsoccer.com. I'm Greg Lawless alongside Andrew Wiebe here from MLSsoccer.com. Now, Andrew, Seattle are down 1-0 from the first leg. This is a tough one. They go to Santos Laguna where really, Herculez, Gomez and company, they very rarely lose there.
Yeah, they've been practically unbeatable in Torreon, one loss in 20 games. Look, I think that benefits the Sounders in this case. Yes, that 1-0 result was... the odds are against them. Everyone is saying this team has no chance, and I think that's that back-against-the-wall mentality that they have to have if they have any chance in this game. You've got to throw caution to the wind early. You can't give up another goal, but at the same time, Seattle did not create much in that first leg. They'll have to do more this time around.
Well, if they're going to overturn that result, they're going to probably have to get a goal, at least one goal, and that away goal might be very important. Let's go out to Dan Hayek and Matt Doyle in San Francisco with the scouting report of how they might get it done.
Thanks, guys. Matt, as we of course already know, Seattle lost the first leg 1-0 at home, which means they need a win in the second leg. If you need a win, you need goals. Does that mean they go to a 4-4-2, even with Obafemi Martins missing the game, and Eddie Johnson, we don't know yet if he's going to be starting?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think they go to a 4-4-2 eventually.
Okay.
I think they start off in that 4-1-4-1 because it worked really well against Santos in the first leg. Yeah, they lost, but they actually held the ball pretty well. They generated some chances, and you have to think that they just want to replicate that, except with the finish. So I would say 4-1-4-1 for the first 60, 65 minutes. If you're down 1-0 at that point, that's not bad because you go into the last stretch of the series just looking for one goal. Just send it to extra time. That's what the Sounders will want to do. And you save Eddie Johnson for that stretch. You put Sammy Ochoa up there, you let him take a pounding for the first 60, 65 minutes, then you switch to the 4-4-2, bring EJ on, hope he can provide that late magic like he did against Tigres in the quarterfinal round.
In the first leg, you mentioned that they were running a 4-1-4-1, and they actually won possession against Santos. If they do switch to the 4-4-2 for the last half hour, can they win possession? And will they care at that point?
I don't think they'll care.
Okay.
I don't think they'll care at all. And I think no matter what formation they play, they're not going to win possession this game. They're going to have to sit deeper in that 4-1-4-1. They were actually pressed fairly high in the first leg. That's not going to be the case in Torreon. But they'll hit on the counter. And they have Steve Zakuani, and they'll have Eddie Johnson for maybe 90 minutes, more likely 30 minutes. They have some guys who could get out on the break and run. Maybe even a switch to the 3-5-2 would work. That's something we saw against Tigres, and pushing DeAndre Yedlin up on that right side gave them more offensive thrust and more width. So I think Ziggy Schmid actually has a lot to work with this game, a lot of different looks he could throw at Santos, and the key will just be keeping it at that 1-0 scoreline going into the last half hour.
All right, well, that's the scouting report for this one. Let's kick it back to the guys in New York.
Well, Santos Laguna have a pretty formidable attack of their own. We mentioned Herculez Gomez, the U.S. international and one of our favorite guys at MLSsoccer.com. But there's also Oribe Peralta and Darwin Quintero. These three together, very, very tough to stop.
Yeah, Siggy Schmidt saying after that last leg, perhaps one of the best attacking trios in CONCACAF. Wow. It's right there. Darwin Quintero, you saw it in that first leg. So explosive with his head up, ability to turn just about anybody on the field. But the guy we haven't really seen the best of yet is Oribe Peralta. He's had his opportunities, but you expect him to finish. Seattle's going to have to key on those two, and then make sure Herc doesn't pop up if they want to have any chance in this one.
All Herc ever seems to do is pop up. Well, one of the guys that will be charged with stopping that attack is young DeAndre Yedlin from the Seattle Sounders, and our Jonah Friedman has a little bit more on him.
Thanks, guys. Okay, pop quiz. And Sounders fans, you can't answer because you know the answer to this. Who has played the most minutes in competitive action for the Seattle Sounders so far this year? It's not Iron Man John Kennedy Hurtado. It's not goalkeeper Michael Geschperning. It's DeAndre Yedlin with 549 minutes played through 7 games. He started 6 of them through league and CCL play. Now, why is that surprising? Because he's only 19 years old. He's a homegrown player playing in his rookie season. And if not for a preseason injury to Adam Johansson, we might not even be having this conversation. But fate has thrust Yedlin into the spotlight, and he's really performed. In a somewhat dismal start to the season for the Seattle Sounders, this kid has been one of the lone bright spots. Witness, of course, his 25-yard bomb off a volley against Tigres in the second leg of the quarterfinals. Of course, he still has his rookie moments too. Check him out as he's ball watching here on this golazo by Chris Wondolowski. But the point is, Yedlin has brought the goods. He's gone up and down the right side with aplomb for the Sounders, and he's given them a lot of hope for the future. So regardless of what happens on Tuesday night in Torreon, this kid is one to watch for the rest of the season. Make sure you check him out.
Whenever MLS teams play against their Mexican counterparts, it seems like momentum is a huge part of the game. And very often the MLS teams come out flying and then they lose the momentum at some point. We saw it in the first leg when LA lost to Monterrey late in the second half. Seattle also in the first leg, they lost momentum along the way. How do the Sounders keep momentum or not be distraught when the momentum shifts?
Well, I think it's all about belief. And we saw it, like you said, for the first 25 minutes in Seattle. They thought that they could hang. They held onto the ball. They moved Santos around the field. It's when that Mexican side turns it on, so to speak, and really starts to apply pressure and generate chances that you run into some problems. You have to know they're going to get the ball in good spots. They're going to have good opportunities. As long as you keep them out, you've got to keep pushing on your side and not resort to sitting back and making sure you don't give things away. If Seattle does that, they don't have a chance in this match.
Well, a big thing I think will be concentration all the way through. Let's go to our man in Torreon, Franco Panizo, with a report from the Seattle Sounders camp.
Hey guys, I'm at Estadio Corona in Torreon, Mexico, where the Seattle Sounders and Santos Laguna will face off in the second leg of their CONCACAF Champions League semifinal series. Seattle entered the game as clear underdogs, needing a result on the road in order to advance to the tournament final. But the club believes it has what it takes to get the job done. Forward Eddie Johnson should be back in the mix for the Sounders, but whether he'll start or come off the bench is still unknown.
I feel good. Got a chance to run around with the team today again and, move around and, make more game decision runs on the field, and I felt great, and I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. We know they're a good team, and they're a good passing team, and like you said, a lot of technical players. But at the end of the day, it's a football match. It's two teams going out there competing for a game that's meaningful.
We knew how they're going to play. They're not going to change their style at home, and so we knew they're going to come out. But no, I think we always try to play the same way. Like I said, when you're away from home at this stage of the competition, you try to play with a bit of intelligence. You try to be smart. You don't want to rush the game. We don't have to win the game in the first 15 minutes.
It's important that we play a good soccer game, that we don't go out there panicked and trying to score goals, because that's not what it's all about. 1-0 gets us into extra time, and they're at home, so there's a little more pressure on them to maybe carry the game a little bit. So we have to be smart, look for our opportunities, and we've got to be a good counterpuncher, as they say in boxing.
I think we need to show a good account of ourselves. We came in last year, we didn't do well at all, so it's a good chance for us to redeem ourselves.
And that's all we have for you here in Torreon, Mexico. Remember, you can watch the game live at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Soccer Channel. I'm Franco Panizo. We'll send it back to you guys.
Well, it's going to be a tall task, that's for sure, for the Sounders. Obviously, they're going to Torreon, where Santos Laguna very rarely lose. They're going up against a team that is desperate to actually win this title and go to the Club World Cup. Can they get this done, Andrew?
Well, they can get it done. I'm going to give them odds at about 10–15%. The odds are against them for two reasons here. Number one, they do not have the forward options. We talked about it earlier in the scouting report. No Obafemi Martins and Eddie Johnson off the bench. That does not bode well. And then, look, Santos just doesn't lose at home in this competition. It would have to be practically a miracle for them to go down. But, hey, miracles do happen.
Hey, 10 to 15% chance, as they said in Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. So Seattle Sounders going down to Torreon to take on Santos Laguna in the second leg of the CCL semifinal. Again, that game is at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday night. It's on Fox Soccer and a live chat on MLSsoccer.com.